Hi. It has been a while since I have been on here. So, how are you? How are you going? Let me know what is going on in your world. This video is for anyone who has ever thought, what on earth do I do with my hands? Anyone who's felt awkward or uncomfortable moving their body when they are performing. Because I have so many memories of being in stage productions or also like casual pub gigs, battling the thoughts of, what are you doing with your arms? You look so uncoordinated. People are going to laugh at you trying to look natural, but looking really unnatural. And sometimes it honestly felt like I had grown them 5 minutes before I went on stage and I had no idea how to use them. And I hear this so often from performers. Well, those performers who aren't holding an instrument, because that can be really helpful. That makes it easier. So, can you relate? Give me a thumbs up or a comment if you've ever felt this. I feel awkward all the time, says Steve. Hi, Steve. By the way, yeah, I've felt that. I feel like I'm totally uncoordinated, and my body just looks ridiculous. Like I'm trying to look so natural, and it's just not working. So I wanted to speak to this a little bit. Now, the reason I can speak to this is because I don't suffer from that awkward arm or aversion to moving when I sing anymore. And I was trying to figure out what it was that kind of moved me from this discomfort into being able to actually express myself much more naturally and not worry so much about how that came across. What gave me the confidence to, not worry about every single little movement, because I used to overanalyze it to the point where it would drive me crazy. And I linked it with a couple of things. The first thing was I am spending so much more time in my body and have been for the last number of years. And I've really been trying to develop and cultivate a more positive relationship with my body. I'm no longer avoiding emotions or feelings or sensations. And I'm no longer spending 100% of my time in my head overthinking and overanalyzing everything. So it feels really different to spend time up here than it does actually in our bodies. It's very quiet in the body and it's very loud in our heads. So most days, and this is part of the solution that I wanted to share, is that I spend at least a few minutes in my body, touching base with my body. If you have seen my Instagram stories, you will know that I move my body quite often to music without rules and shoulds around what it's meant to look like. So it definitely is intentional, but it doesn't have all of the weight of it needing to look a certain way. It's kind of with a focus on coming home or starting to feel comfortable in my own skin. And I will say that it's a process and it's not a process that is linear. And so some days I will feel more uncomfortable in my own body and it takes more time to get to a place where I'm neutral, maybe not even positive. But it does get easier. And I find that most days now I am able to really appreciate my body and not feel uncomfortable with how I look and how I move and how I express myself. So that's been really, really important. And the second thing is I've teamed this with regularly checking in with my thoughts about myself. And so many of you courageously share with me that you do have a lot of negative inner dialogue. And I sent an email out earlier this week about inner dialogue about our bodies and how we tend to really berate our bodies, and that's part of how we detach from them. So thank you to everyone who shared that with me. I know that it can be really challenging and really vulnerable. But when I check in regularly with my thoughts about myself, I can then uncover the truth underneath the stories, the baggage that I've collected over my years around my body, around my voice, around myself as an artist, around myself as a person in the world, my personality and how I'm received by others. I can practice self-compassion. That's a huge one. And part of the one that part of what I think is really important with the moving and the what do I do with my hands and do I look uncoordinated in my body is to not take myself and my art quite so seriously. That's a huge part of it, is that it has to be done a certain way. We have to look a certain way, and letting go of that and getting more comfortable with whatever my own self-expression looks like at the time has led to a real liberation from all of that heaviness and expectation on myself. It's been incredibly freeing. And I have a lot of singers and performers ask me about how to show up authentically. And this is my answer. It's not easy, it's not linear, it's not quick, it's not always pretty, but this is what I've been spending like the last few years really exploring, and that's my answer. So before that though, and this is maybe where you're at right now, I couldn't enjoy performing. And let me know if that resonates with you. You're so uncomfortable in your body and worried about how you look to other people, how you're coming across, that you can't enjoy it. Because I was spending so much time and energy trying to figure out how I could control how other people perceived me. So have you felt like that? Do you feel like those narratives are whirling through your head at the speed of knots? Are you trying to not look silly or embarrass yourself? Are you trying to get all of the notes and lyrics perfect? Are you trying to look engaging and entertaining, but at the same time, authentic? You can see that when we kind of lay it out like that, it's impossible with all that running through your head to be present in your body, to be present in the expression, to enjoy what that brings to the table. And no wonder we get nervous before we share our voices, because you have all of those expectations and pressures that are running in the background, and you know that they're going to come to the fore when you are on stage or when you are in front of others. And if one thing slips, we then feel like we've failed. Hi, Lois. I enjoy playing and singing for people, but can't seem to always stop the thinking about technique. Yeah, and I think that sometimes we use the overthinking or overfocus on the technique as a safety mechanism, because when you're thinking so much about the technique, you actually don't have to be vulnerable. And I'm not saying that that's you, Lois, but I definitely felt that for me. Like it felt easier to do that sometimes than to, surrender, to let go, to really, for lack of a better term, because it's a bit overused, but speak my truth or sing my truth. That felt really uncomfortable. And so if I thought about the technique and I thought about, tongue positions or what my lips were doing or what my breath was doing, it felt like an easier place to focus my attention so that I wasn't spinning out, but then I wasn't also giving from my heart or from myself, right? My soul. So this video started out about what do I do with my hands, but it's really a deeper disconnection from the body and a broader conversation that I think we need to have around how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, and what rules you have around self-expression and being seen. And so, as I said earlier on, actually taking time, like spending time doing that, spending time in your body, spending time moving without the rules, just by yourself, and getting used to the discomfort that comes with that and all of the mental chatter that comes with that is really important. And figuring out what those stories are and where they've come from, and untangling yourself from those as well. So you can do this in any way that feels good to you. There are no rules, but this is exactly why I created my Embody Your Voice program, because as amazing as vocal technique can be, and I love it, and it can really free your voice in one way, in a very physical way, it can't tackle this. It isn't the way that we repair our relationship to ourselves and our bodies. And that does require something different. And so if you feel a little bit lost around how to start navigating this, this is why I created Embody Your Voice. And I hope that if this resonates with you, that you'll check it out. I've popped a link. I don't know which way it goes. It's either above this video or below this video. I feel like it's above. And this 4-week program is really an exploration or a peeling back of what is weighing heavily on you. So we all have those people that we admire, those performers that we see who seem to have all the confidence in the world, or this idea that we're like, oh, they have no shame, you know? And they're not magical unicorns. They've simply shared this heaviness or this baggage around collected stories that they held on to about who they are. Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to it too, Lois. I'm so thrilled that you are on board, and we have a beautiful group of people, most of whom I know and have had interactions with, that are going to be joining us from all over the world, and I'm really, really excited. So just to tell a little bit about how it is going to run down and some of the frequently asked questions that I've had, I'll be guiding you through that by starting with your thoughts. So we're going to start unpacking what is going on, what is whirling around there, what you latch onto as true, and starting to separate the truth from the story. It's so important to start off there. So everyone that jumps into this program actually gets access to my From Self-Doubt to Surrender workshop, where we really started to process that. So you can do that before we even kick off the program itself. Then we move into your emotions and how they tend to present themselves in your body, because I think that so many of us disconnect from that. I know that for me, it is often like Netflix or TV, reaching for a glass of wine, scrolling on Instagram. These are the ways that I separate from my emotions. And I think sometimes doing that with intention is healthy, and sometimes it's not so. So we're going to connect with that. And then going deeper still, reconnecting with the body in a way that you may not have done for a while. And so we're kind of moving through different places of the body and a deeper allowing of sensation, allowing of just a real honesty, I think, with the body that we don't tend to have because we live so much of the time up in our heads. And so we'll do this through 8 live workshops together. I think it's really important that we do this as a community because it can be quite a vulnerable activity. So 4 of them are going to be in my morning. I'm in Perth, Australia, and that's for the US and Canada to be able to easily join. And 4 of them are going to be in my afternoon so the UK and Europe can jump in. So they'll all be different content. It also means that we don't have to make them 3 hours long like my other workshop. They can be nice and succinct, and they're all recorded so you can catch up on them anytime. And you also keep access to them after the program finishes. What do they consist of? We will be using tangible practices and kind of free-flowing discussion because it's really powerful to hear from others who are going through the same things you are. You know, we feel less alone, we feel less shame or less broken and more hopeful. We feel more connected with others. So we'll be moving through meditations or visualizations. We're going to move through breath work, writing prompts. There'll be some like stretching, connecting with your physical body, movement, and you can have your camera off. I've had a few people ask, are we going to have to move in front of other people? You can have your camera off anytime that you choose to. And of course, singing. So there will be singing and exploring resonance in a range of different ways as well. So if you are getting goosebumps, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is something I really want to be a part of, if you have a gut feeling that it will be really impactful for you, please head to the link that I've added to get more details, or you can head to thatsweetraw.com and there's a little bar at the top that you can click on for more information too. Doors close in 3 days, so we're really getting down to the wire now. And I would absolutely love to have you as part of it. As I said, we've got an incredible group of humans already. And I think that it's going to be a really nice way to end a very challenging year. You're going to be slowing down. You're going to tend to yourself and your emotions, leaning into self-expression and freeing yourself from some of the heaviness that you feel around sharing that expression. So if you've got any questions, please pop a comment below. Reach out to me, kim@thatsweetraw.com. I'm always there to answer your questions to see if it will be a good fit, or you can message me. But yeah, I hope that even just talking about this and talking about the awkwardness that you might have when you're performing really starts you to ask the question, am I in my body? What happens if I take a couple of minutes to really sit in my body, to be in the experience of having this like physical body? And then can you branch out into movement that doesn't have rules, that doesn't need choreography? I always tried to add choreography and it would look so unnatural. So that you get used to how your body wants you to move, how it would be organic to move without all of the stories that are telling you that you're not doing it right. So I hope this was helpful. Please share any feelings that you have around this topic, any questions that you have. I am always here. But as I said, it's not a quick fix, but it is well worth doing, because then you can be in the music, you can be in the storytelling of it, the connecting with the audience, all of the things that we want, the joy of being able to use your voice, of being able to express something. Because we hold ourselves back from that, and it's such a shame, because it's why we wanted to sing in the first place. And it's my job, my mission, to have as many performers and creatives feel like they are able to do that freely. So yeah, any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to hear from you if you have anything that you would like to share. Take care and have a beautiful weekend.